All right, everybody, welcome to the Jerry YouTube channel. We've got a very exciting vendor and speaker announcement for JUNKCON 2022 coming up in just about 3 weeks' time, October 12th through 14th in Raleigh, North Carolina. If you have not purchased your tickets, make sure you check out the link in the description and get on over to junkcon.com to get those tickets purchased. But with us today, I've got Ritchie Taylor from Manning and Fulton out of Raleigh, North Carolina. They are franchise attorneys, and they've actually got some experience setting up franchises within the junk removal space. So they're very, very relevant to those of you that are growing a junk removal company and you are looking to set up a franchise system, which has been the traditional way that franchise companies have expanded. So, Ritchie, I'd love just to turn it over to you. If you would just tell us a little bit about yourself, your firm, and what people might expect coming up here at JUNKCON.
Sure. Thanks for having us, Lee. We're excited to be involved. As you noted, I lead the franchise law practice at Manning Fulton, which I've done for over 20 years. We've worked with hundreds of franchisors, franchisees, and private equity firms in their franchising activities. I've worked with brands in almost every kind of industry, including the junk removal industry. Our job is to help clients navigate the maze of legal and business issues to achieve their business objectives. And that's what we do day in and day out.
That's awesome. And so tell us a little bit of the advantages of franchising your business. We've seen it a lot in the junk removal space. So it started in about 1996-ish or so was the first junk removal franchise that was set up. I'd love to hear what some of the advantages are of franchising.
Sure. So when you think about franchising, in my view, is that it is a method of expansion, right? At the end of the day, your choices are to go, if you're going to grow, you're going to grow organically. You're going to grow by raising equity capital. You're going to grow by raising debt capital or some combination of the above. Or franchising offers another venue and method for expansion. You can still use any and all of the other kinds of method to fund growth, but franchising provides another way whereby your local owner operator called the franchisee is going to license your intellectual property and your business systems to be able to grow and expand their business and operate in accordance with your standards and using your brand. Franchising allows one to scale business quickly with franchisees who are vested in the success of both their unit as well as the overall brand.
That's great, Ritchie. So you gave everybody a few options other than franchising to expand. One was growing organically. So basically, taking the profits that you're earning and rolling them into a geographic expansion with corporate-owned units being one. The second one was going out and raising equity from outside partners or investors. Why might franchising be the better route to go compared to those other two options?
Well, with the debt, you have to pay it back, is what the bank wants you to do, right? So that's one issue, that you're encumbered with the debt, which could ultimately hamper, if you're not able to make the payments, then that's going to hamper your ability to grow and could actually cause your business to retract and be constrained. Mm-hmm. On the equity side, you're diluting your business, right? You're going to own a smaller piece of hopefully a bigger pie. But with franchising, you get to retain 100% control over the franchisor entity, but yet the franchisee owns their operating unit. So there's that delineation between the ownership that allows you to retain control over the business. And what we find for many founders, that's one of the reasons they chose franchising, is they wanted to be able to retain control over their dream.
And in a way, there's less risk, it sounds like, potentially, mm-hmm. especially as compared to go out and getting debt.
Correct. Absolutely.
And obviously, I guess maybe one of the other advantages, when you go organic, it's kind of slow. So if you're trying to grow faster, if you've got a great idea or a great brand, you want to move quickly because there's kind of a time value of money. Seems like franchising is a much quicker way to go than trying to go organically as well. Would you say so?
Often, yes, that's the case, right? Because if you're growing organically, you can only grow as fast as your income statement and balance sheet will allow you to grow. Whereas you have a multiplier effect with franchising because of the franchisees are bringing to bear their net worth and their income statement to be able to grow their specific units.
Very good. Well, thank you for that. And we're talking about franchising out a junk removal company, and people are probably wondering, hey, is this a right fit for me? So who might be a good candidate to set up or at least explore franchising their junk removal company?
We'll delve into more detail at JUNKCON, but as a threshold matter, we want to be looking at profitable business models with sufficient margins to support the overlay of a franchise fee. If there's not enough margin there for both you and the franchisee, then that's probably not going to be a business that's good for franchising. You want to have strong branding. You want to be able to own and control your trademark. So if your trademark is generic, then that's going to be a problem. Unique offering in the marketplace. You want to have a unique offering in the marketplace. Why is the marketplace going to be better because you're there versus just being another Me Too concept? Because this can be a crowded field, and you want to figure out how you're going to differentiate yourself. And then lastly, the capacity to support franchisees. I always tell people that they're starting a second business. Their first business is the operating company that is paying the bills today, and they're starting a new business of licensing their intellectual property to their franchisees and supporting them.
That's a great point to be made that a lot of people don't realize. When you're setting up a franchise system, you're now in the business of selling franchises, not providing junk removal.
Absolutely. And if you don't have the infrastructure in place there, then when something goes wrong in your operating business, you're going to want to run back over to your operating business. Meanwhile, the franchisees are over here looking for support in their businesses as well.
How often do you see a entrepreneur or business owner franchise off a business too soon before they're ready?
Well, we don't see it very often because we'd be the first ones to try to talk them out of doing it. Right. But certainly there are people out there that do that. And it's bad for both the franchisee and bad for the franchisor itself.
Sure, certainly. We definitely want to do it right. So if they're wanting to do it right, what are maybe a couple things that they need to have established within their company before they set it up as a franchise?
What I'd recommend as far as you're preparing to franchise, seek to systematize what you're doing and document what you're doing. The E-Myth is a great book that many prospective franchisors read, right, to be able to think about how to be able to describe and to systematize that, because they're going to need to take this successful business that they've created and be able to help replicate that. So those kind of systems, both from an operations perspective and documenting that, as well as building up the talent pool in their operating company that can be leveraged to help the franchise brand grow.
So having the systems and talent in place to make sure that their core business is running smoothly. That way they can focus in on the business of now selling franchises. So in a lot of ways, that needs to be running on its own. Would you say that's the case?
That's what we would prefer to see, yes.
How long does it take to set up a franchise system? And without, you don't have to go into a ton of detail, but what might it cost also to get a system set up? Because when you do the research online, you see massive differences between what it might cost to, minimum on the minimum end to the maximum end. Can you give us some sort of idea of the time commitment, how long it might take, as well as the expense commitment?
The expense is going to vary based on how much of the various things that need to be done somebody's going to do in-house. Obviously, they're not going to do the legal work in-house, but there's other, consulting firms and so forth that can help them with their operations manual and sales presentations and those kind of things. And those are at additional cost, but there's additional reward and benefit that many brands receive from having that kind of consultant to walk them through the process. And obviously it depends on each individual system as far as the costs that are involved. But the time period, I would say you probably see 4 to 6 months is probably the typical time period from the time that those service providers are engaged, the time that they're in a position to offer their first franchise.
If somebody came to JUNKCON here in about 3 weeks' time, so mid-October, potentially they could maybe be up and running with a franchise system by March or so of next year. Would you say?
Absolutely.
That right?
That's right.
Awesome. Well, good. What do you hope that people are going to gain from hearing you talk and interacting with Manning Fulton at JUNKCON?
Well, we just wanted to help demystify the franchise business model and process of brands looking to franchise leave with the information they need to make an informed decision on whether franchising fits into their expansion plans.
Fantastic. Well, that's great. Well, Richie, I appreciate your time today. I'm really looking forward to seeing you at JUNKCON 2022. I know there's going to be a lot of people that have considered franchising that probably haven't gotten on the phone and taken the time to actually speak with somebody that's an expert in the field. So we're all really going to benefit from it. Glad to have you as a part of JUNKCON 2022, and we'll see you in about 3 weeks.
Well, thank you so much, Lee.
Guys, appreciate you checking this out. Again, this is a new speaker announcement, new vendor announcement at JUNKCON 2022. Ritchie Taylor from Manning Fulton as a franchise attorney, and will be speaking on stage at JUNKCON. If you haven't got your tickets yet, please click the link in the description so you can join myself and Ritchie at JUNKCON 2022, October 12th through 14th. We'll see everybody here in a few weeks. Thanks.